It's a great pleasure for CFA to be one of the sponsors and for me to be introducing the keynote speaker today. Those of you I didn't tackle on the way in the door, I'll just say a word or two. For most of you, this is the second time you're hearing it today. But there's nothing like repetition to make the point, to take the point home. CFA is a national umbrella group for residential landlords across Canada. We act through the local associations, and by bringing them together, we are more effective in making our points to the Government of Canada. So CFA is all about trying to obtain better tax rules and better housing policy for Canada's landlords. We also run two major services for landlords. Number one, an employee compensation survey. So please talk to me if you want more information about that, either for yourselves or for your Human Resources Department. The second major service we run is an annual rental housing conference. This year, the conference is taking place in Toronto from June 15 to June 17. So again, with the black binders you received, you should have received this handout about the conference. There are 2 full days packed with educational sessions and with networking opportunities on June 16 and June 17. As well, there are lots of opportunities for fun. There's a building innovation bus tour on Wednesday, June 15, and a dinner boat cruise on June 16, between the 2 days of the conference. So please pick up a flyer for all the details or chat with me at one of the breaks. We hope to see you and other people from your companies at the CFA conference in June. There will be a small amount of overlap with this conference. Some of the speakers are speaking at our conference as well as here, but they're all going to be speaking on different topics from the topics they spoke on here. So we look forward to seeing you there. Now, Jason kindly asked me to introduce the keynote speaker, and I'm delighted to do that. Brock MacLean grew up in London, Ontario, where he graduated from the University of Western Ontario. Brock has spent 18 years serving the multifamily housing industry. He is now Senior Vice President of National Sales and Development with For Rent Media Solutions. That's a major U.S. company based in San Diego. So in May, it's okay. We've got nice weather here. That's okay. If we were holding this in January, you could all have groaned and think, oh boy, I wish we lived in San Diego. But Brock lives there all year round. Brock and the company are pushing for technologically advanced marketing solutions, including the industry's first online video package and various applications with useful features that cannot be found elsewhere in the market. I know I'm looking forward to his presentation. I'm sure you all are as well. In addition, Brock has helped to educate the multifamily sector through speaking engagements, national management meetings, and media interviews with major rental housing industry publications. Please join me in welcoming Brock MacLean.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, and thank you, everybody, for the opportunity. Is that too loud? I don't want to wear everybody out with my loud voice today. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. In my 18-plus years in multifamily, this is my first time having the opportunity to speak to a group not only outside the U.S., but actually to come home and do it. So that's an extra special treat for me. I got a chance to meet Peter earlier to find out that we are both alumni of the same high school. And as John mentioned, I graduated from Western. Any other Mustangs in the room? Nice. See, there's another first. In all of my speaking, I've never had the opportunity to say there's an alumni from my high school and somebody else from where I went to university. So that is an extra special treat for me. And when Jason invited me to come talk with the group today about some of the things we're doing at For Rent Media Solutions, I jumped at it not only as an opportunity to share what we're doing with the multifamily community here in Canada, but also a chance to selfishly come home and spend a couple of days. So I appreciate that very much. We at For Rent have really focused over the past, 28 years of the company, but really over the past handful of years on the power of an integrated media solution. In fact, the company itself, while it was founded 28 years ago, started as For Rent magazine. And Over the course of time, we developed an internet presence, but a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today are innovations that are really but a few years old. And what is really great is, having not seen the program until I already had this presentation completed, a lot of the sessions you're going to see today speak very closely to the trends and the things that we have implemented over the past few years. So I think that should be a really exciting time for everybody here. As I mentioned, the company's 28 years old, started as a publication company, but has quickly grown to encompass not only what we do within the internet, but also in some niche areas as well. So 20,000 apartment communities. Our focus tends to be on communities that have 75 to 100 units and above. And as many of you probably know, in the U.S., that is a significant part of the environment there. 90 publications across the country, 70-plus offices. So along with a national sales organization and a national focus, we've really been successful with our local presence as well, especially as it relates to what we do in the print side of the business. And then 4 websites as well that complement what we do in print. So in addition to For Rent, and for those of you who haven't seen it, I did bring a few copies. How many of you are familiar with For Rent? Anybody? Oh, wow, wonderful. So in addition to For Rent, we've really kind of carved a bit of a niche in some other areas that are very quickly emerging. Para Rentar is our Spanish publication and accompanying website, as well as After 55 is a segment that we focus on as well. So those are really some kind of key areas that we've been looking at in terms of growth. The other one is corporate housing, makes up our other website, but that encompasses the entire company itself. But from a focus standpoint, we used to do a lot of things geared around what are our advertisers looking for. And while we still are very much focused on that, we have realized that focusing on how consumers are selecting their next apartment home has been essential to the success of For Rent and the mutual success of our advertisers. This is just a quick look at what we consider to be the shopper cycle, and it looks confusing when you look at it, but what you realize is consumers today are finding their next home in multiple ways. It's not a linear approach anymore. They don't start with a publication or start with a website, but may come into the search process from any one of a number of areas, mobile, social media, and then interact with a number of the other opportunities for search in ultimately arriving at their next home. So while it appears to be a confusing cycle, the fact that you can reach your content to a consumer where they want to interact has been critical in generating the results that our advertisers are looking for. So reaching renters any place, any time is a big focus of ours. This comprises the suite of our services, and I'll talk about them all independently, but they really do combine together to be a integrated media approach that our advertisers and our consumers seem to be really responding to. I want to speak specifically about print, though, because starting out as a legacy publishing company, this is still a very critical part of what we do, but it has evolved over the past really just handful of years. And the way consumers are interacting with our print publications has as well. I don't know how many of you can read that cartoon really well. It says, "Media's age of irony," and on the little billboard at the newsstand it says, "Print declared dead." Right? Yet everybody's standing around reading the newspaper or some form of a publication. I know at my house, the coffee table in the family room is stacked full of magazines that just seem to appear out of nowhere. But I tend to look at my oldest child, my daughter, who's a freshman in high school, she's 15, for how things are being used as a barometer for how we can tailor-make our products as well. My 15-year-old still can't wait till Teen Vogue arrives in the mailbox. She hustles out, gets it, curls up on the couch, and reads it, and is ecstatic, and is upset when it's not there when she's expecting it to be there. But what I have noticed is not only does she read it, but what does she do with it? She's got her mobile device with her at all times, and she's using QR codes, so she's scanning for calls to action from print. She's texting to get information, right? She's really not dialing the phone as much as maybe we were accustomed to when we were her age, but she's still utilizing print in different ways, and that's really the trend that we see happening within our publications today. This is a quote from Kate Good. If you haven't heard of Kate Good, it's a website worth looking at, but Kate speaks around the country on media and marketing and talks about how print is still a very viable force in driving eyeballs. I consider it more of a directive medium today, more so than the sole place where people are searching for their next home, but the reality of print is it's morphed over time. What we have done in print that has really been successful is not only take some of the core principles that have always been successful, and just as a side note, we distribute about 2 million publications a month, and we still have about a 94% pickup rate. So people are still picking up publications in significant percentages as they always have, but they're doing things differently. A couple of the things that we've done to really do that is, you can see at the top there, the text icon. About 3 years ago, we launched a custom text product. So all of our print ads have a unique custom keyword for the actual advertiser. Now, the keyword 47368, as recently as 3 years ago when I secured that short code, I thought I was very clever because that spells out the number 4 and rent, R-E-N-T, because at the time, we were all using alphanumeric keys to text. So I thought, wow, how cool if we could brand for and rent and people would remember our short code. Well, you know, as time has evolved and mobile devices have become to where they are, having that alphanumeric correspondence isn't as critical. So 47368 is the key. And at first I thought, well, people really use that, but it's really remarkable that despite the fact they have our publication with phone numbers and they could dial the phone, people want to text the customized keyword, have that listing jump to their mobile device, and have it there as something to interact with that community on. So having text and a mobile interaction, what I like to call an offline action, a print publication, to an online conversion in a text code has been very successful. With that in mind, we've also deployed QR codes. You all see QR codes much more frequently now in all forms of media. When we first launched it, it was very new, and again, we didn't launch it so much as because we thought the results would be spectacular, but we wanted to be able to show for our advertisers and for consumers that we could take a legacy product, a print publication, and bring advanced technology to make it interactive for consumers and helping them find their next home. We started just putting it on our cover communities, and along with on our cover communities here, we also put one up here in the corner. So by market, again, I mentioned we have 70 markets. If you scan, if you scan that QR code, it takes you to the browse results for the geographic location in which you're located. So again, a very kind of innovative way to bring technology to what is otherwise a legacy brand. We've also encouraged all our advertisers to include all the social connections. So the ability to follow them on Facebook, Twitter, to look at blogs has been great for the consumer that's looking for that kind of interaction. The other thing we did was our publications were always custom ads, which they still are, but we realized that if you go to most websites, the calls to action tend to be formatted in a place where you know where to get them. So as nice as a website might be, finding the calls to action weren't that difficult. So we deployed what we call a call to action box. So in a box on every page, despite the ad being custom, as a consumer, your eye's trained to go to that box to communicate with that apartment community in whichever form you want, whether you want to call them, whether you want to utilize their text code. If they've got a video, we indicate in the page that there is a video there as well. And when I speak about video a little later, I'll let you know kind of where that has taken us. But one of the things we can do now is with a QR code, jump the video right to the person's phone from their print ad. So they can scan the ad, and now they're looking at a video of the community. So very, very powerful connection between print and advanced technology. And I mentioned the QR codes. And it's early days. I think I was talking to it was Richard last night. I think we were talking about how today, not significant traffic, but there's more than there was last year. And the awareness, in fact, I was flipping through, I guess it was USA Today on the way here yesterday, and there was multiple ads that had QR codes in them, which really wasn't something we saw as recently as a year ago. So I think as a continuing trend. The other thing I think is important to note, today, QR codes are free of charge, not only for our advertisers, but free of charge to us. So as a technology to deploy, it's a worthwhile opportunity to see what happens. Now, I will caution you, though, that we may all be getting set up for the fall when Microsoft decides to start charging for these, and we have 20,000 of them in place. So not sure, so I caution you to be diligent in your deployment of them, but certainly interesting to see what's possible.